Okay, so before I actually start using Mana Toolkit, I'd like to show you the wireless interfaces that I have installed on my device. So right now I only have my internal device or my internal wireless card, and as you can see it's connected to a network called TY2. I'm gonna launch the terminal and just confirm that for you. So the command that you'd use to see your wireless cards is iwconfig. And as you can see that I have a LAN 0 wireless card here, that's my internal one, and it's associated with a network called TY2. So ESSID is the name of the network and it's TY2. So this will be used as the card that will provide the internet connection. And I'll use my external wireless card to broadcast the signal of the network. So the external wireless card is a USB card, and I'm going to connect it using an OTG cable that I showed you what it looks like in the previous video. So I'm going to connect my external card physically, and then I'm going to give it 2 seconds, and I'm going to run iwconfig to see if the card has been recognized. I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see now, we have a card called LAN1, and it's not connected to any network right now. So this is perfect now. I'm gonna go back to my launcher menu and show you the settings that you can do for the Mana Toolkit. So the first option is the interface, and I put here LAN1 because this is the name of the external wireless card, and this is what we are going to use to broadcast the signal. The BSSID here, this is the MAC address of the network. You can put any MAC address that you want. The SSID is the name of the network that will be broadcasted. So I'm calling it free internet to attract people to connect to that network. And then when they connect, I'll naturally be the man in the middle, and I can do any man in the middle attack, like using T-Shark, SSL strip, do any of the scenarios that we did, DNS spoofing, whatever that I want. The channel is the channel that is going to be used to broadcast the signal. And these last two options are for Karma. Karma is an option that allows you to make a network or an access point that is identical to an existing access point. The reason why you do this is you can create an access point identical to an access point that uses an encryption or a key, and then trick the users to connect your fake access point and then ask them to enter the username using a web page. So the users have to be socially engineered, and you have to kind of convince them to enter their username and password in a website for their Wi-Fi network, and then you'll have the username and password for the Wi-Fi network. Now we're not going to be doing this in this video, because all we want to do is just create an access point with internet connection, get people to connect to it, and then we will be the man in the middle, so we can do any of the man in the middle attacks that we know. So I'm going to leave these two as 0. And the other thing that I want to show you here in the settings, I'm going to go to the NAT Mana Simple, which is the one that we're going to use. So it's an access point with internet connection only, and it's not going to do any of the man in the middle attacks. We're going to have to do them manually. The most important thing is just make sure that you have your upstream as the wireless card that is connected to the internet. So I showed you before how LAN 0 was associated with a network called TY2. So this is my interface that is connected to the internet in the upstream. And then in the PY I have LAN 1, which is my interface that will be used to broadcast the signal. I've also removed all the comments here. You'd usually see hashtags before all of these commands, because when you remove them, then you'll be able to turn off the wireless network by tapping return. So that's it. I just wanted to show you the settings that I had. The first thing that I'm going to do before I start my access point is make sure that my IP tables is clear and it does not contain any rules that might drop packets and prevent the access point from working properly. So we did this when we did the bad USB attack as well, to allow the packets to flow freely through our device, and we use the scripts that I had in my resources, which is called flush IP tables. So I'm just going to use the exact same script right now. So it's bash. I have it stored in SD card. Files, flush IP tables.sh. And because you don't see any error messages, that means the command was run successfully. So the next thing we're going to do is run our evil access point. So first I'm going to navigate to where mana is stored, which is in USR, share, mana toolkit, and run mana. So I'm basically just using CD to navigate or to change the working directory to that working directory where the run scripts for mana are stored. And I'm just gonna do an ls to show you all the run scripts that you can use. So ls will just list the files that are in that directory. And as you can see that we have a file for each option that I explained in the previous video. So a file for the full, for the simple, and for the no upstream. And each one of them has a KitKat and a Lollipop version. So the KitKat is for Android 4.4.4 and the Lollipop is for Android 5. You can also see that we have a BDF option that I didn't explain. It's to run backdoor factory on the access point that we will run. Now, I'm not going to use that right now, and I'm going to explain this in future videos. So for now, we're just going to ignore it. Now, I'm only going to run the simple NAT, which will create a network that has internet connection. People can connect to it, access the internet, and then I can do all the attacks manually like we did before. So we can do DNS spoofing, SSL strip, all that as I said before. The same way that we did them with the bad USB attack. So I'm going to run the bash start mana, or sorry, start NAT simple KitKat, because I have Android 4.4.4 .sh. I'm gonna hit return, and I'm gonna give it some time to start the access point. And now the access point is running, and as you can see it says hit enter to kill me or to stop the access point. Okay, so everything is done now. The attack is running and the network should be broadcasting. So now you have an internet network and it's sharing the wireless connection, and it's sharing the internet connection on one of my wireless cards, which is called LAN 0, and it's broadcasting it through another wireless card connected using the OTG cable, which is called LAN 1. When people connect to this network, they will have internet connection, and we will naturally be the man in the middle because we are the server, so they have to send the packets to us and we will be sending the responses. Therefore, we can read these packets, modify them, and do all the attacks that we learned and we will learn when you are the man in the middle. So let's just check and see if we can see the network. And as you can see here, we have a network called Free Internet. I'm not going to connect to it now because that will disconnect my mirroring here for the Android device. So I'm going to connect to it from a Windows device in the next video. And we'll see what we can do and we'll check if it has internet connection or not.